Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Another story that came from a short I did last evening, and that is the abandonment of all pretense that Scotland has a police force. It now has a rapid reaction force. It will react to major crimes, but it's not going out there trying to prevent them. It's not going out there showing a face and sort of putting people off committing offences, and it's certainly not going to deal with anything minor. It is effectively a policeless state. Now, this has been brought about through deliberate policy. There's no other explanation. The SNP have been told for years what would happen if they continued to underfund the police, and so they have continued to underfund the police. They haven't got the manpower, the resources, the money. They literally haven't got enough to do the job. And of course, it is deliberate, and I think part of it is while the police are so busy dealing with other things, they won't be able to look at what's going on within the SNP and all the things that they're getting up to. So I think it is a rather cynical way letting Scotland burn just so they can get away with some of the most heinous crimes imaginable. One only has to look at all the deaths that may well be laid at their door. Certainly all the perversions involving children, there's been plenty of them, as well as just general low-level standard continual sexual assaults. They are an immoral party of degenerates, and that is why they have deliberately arranged to make sure there is no effective police force. But at what cost to normal people? It's going to be bad. Let's take a look. So it's a good day for criminals. Police Scotland to no longer investigate all crimes across the country in a dangerous cost-cutting measure. Now, they've got this new police chief in, new Chief Constable of Police Scotland, Jo Farrell. She's got a bit of a dodgy past where she was in Northumberland. But they brought her in, and, within a week or so, they've got her under the thumb because of the theft of resources, using a police car to take her and a colleague home on a particularly bad night with all the storm. She never offered to repay the cost or anything. She just apologised, and so everything's good. But it does mean that the SNP now own her. They own the justice system. They own it all, lock, stock and barrel. But even then, there's still the dodgy chance that somebody may investigate them. And so if they can continually, denude the police of resources and money, then eventually everyone just gives up and says, well, it's not really worth it now, is it? And that's what they're hoping for. And that is why they have done what they've done. It's the only logical explanation you can come at. Anyway, the Scottish Tories have attacked the Scottish Government for allowing cops to push forward with a new policy where minor crimes like bikes or garden thefts will no longer be properly investigated. And if you think it's just bike thefts and garden thefts, think again. It will be heavily increasing upwards. And so you start at the very minor stuff, but as time goes on, it will creep up and creep up and creep up until eventually it basically only be, the big five that they're going to investigate. Other than that, they don't care, Anyway, police will no longer investigate every crime. Now, before we get... This was just originally in the north there. Actually, I can just see it was initially rolled out in the northeast. But they said it was successful. Not investigating crime was so successful that they're going to bring it in everywhere. Because the money they save, oh, well, look, we're saving loads of money. Well, you can save even more by not investigating any crime. Think of the money you'd save then. Anyway, the policy has been branded dangerous by some critics and was highlighted as SNP surrendering to the criminals. And it means the likes of bikes or garden thefts, where there is no one to give evidence, will not be looked into by cops unless new information comes to light. The best thing to do is take a picture on your camera and say, it's okay, I shot him. They'll be there in minutes. And then you say, look, there's the picture I shot. And then they say, oh, well, you told us you shot him. I say, you told me there was no one available. You were here quick enough, weren't you? Anyway, it was originally kicked off in Moray, Aberdeenshire and Aberdeen in September 2023 and has been labelled a success, I know, by Police Scotland. When first announced, it was part of plans to free up man-hours due to a lack of funding from the Scottish Government. Let's change that to a deliberate lack of funding from the Scottish Government, and a plummeting number of bobbies on the beat. They need, by police own figures, they need something like an extra 1,500 police to be hired. But of course, nobody's got the money for it because, those embassies don't pay for themselves now. Anyway, a report on how this went has been published ahead of the Scottish Police Authority meeting next week, with officials confirming the go-ahead for it to be rolled out across the country. Investigations into reports of petty theft and minor property damage were among those abandoned by cops. So you're in a house and somebody comes along and smashes in your front door and steals your telly or something like that. They're not interested. No, not interested. It's a criminal's charter. All the English are going to go on away days. They're going to get little bus, little van or something, hire a van, drive up to Scotland, do a little spate of burglaries, and away out south. Nobody cares. Police aren't interested. Nope. Nobody was hurt. Nah, it's all right. Don't care. Not going to bother. Here's a crime number. Call your insurance. I haven't got insurance. Well, you're an idiot. And that's it. That's all your response from the police you're going to get now. Anyway, police said that during the 12-week trial, 5% of crimes reported in A Division, Aberdeen, Aberdeenshire, Moray, were filed for no further inquiry, freeing up 2,657 police officer hours. But this left victims of crime without a conclusion on their cases. Sometimes you're not going to get anything done, but you just need a policeman to... You need to be aware that the police are aware. You need a policeman to come around, basically pat you on the back, say, look, it's bad, but what can we do? That's fine. It's a little bit of sympathy. Police shouldn't be there just simply to react either. People on the beat, people inquiring, people looking, hearing, seeing. It stops a lot of crime. But you keep cutting like this, and it's just crime will escalate to a point that Scotland will become. It's dangerous close to it now, but it will become a lawless state. It will be. It's very close. I suggest it's very close to being a failed state, and it will be run by gangs. It's going to become one of those. It's going to be a kleptocracy. It's going to be crime. It's deliberate. It's appallingly bad, and it's deliberate, and it's going to harm the vulnerable. Anyway, examples were included in the report, with one caller's car bumper being damaged in a car park, but no CCTV present or note left. Their case was abandoned, as was one person who returned home after 4 weeks away to find garden ornaments missing. Another complainant had a delivery of parcel confirmed, only for it to go missing when they got home. Now, these do seem small and minor, I grant you. But they're small and minor now. But this will escalate, as I say. This will get up and up and up and up. And it's just the general attitude. Oh, it's small, it doesn't matter. Well, it's like the man who attacks a woman, the man who badly attacks a woman, the man who murders a woman. It's never straight away. It's always escalation. Jack the Ripper didn't start that like that, Anyway, the Scottish Tories hit out at the plans, labelling the policy dangerous. Scottish Conservative Shadow Justice Secretary Russell Findlay said the rollout of this dangerous scheme formalises the SNP's surrender to criminals as official policing policy. This is not what hard-working officers signed up for, and it's not what taxpayers pay their taxes for. He said savage SNP cuts and their weak justice agenda already means that officer numbers are at their lowest in 2008 and most crimes are not even reported. And doing nothing in response to thousands of crimes betrays law-abiding Scots. This is a good day for criminals and can only result in even more crime on our streets. It will. And even on those rare occasions when they actually catch people and get them up before the courts give them a slap on the wrist and set them out. Even for serious crimes. Oh, okay, you're a grown man and you are a child. Here, go and pick litter for a few days. Welcome to lawless Scotland. Do what you like, Who's it, Alistair Crowley? To do as I will shall be the whole of the law. And that basically is where you are in Scotland now. I do feel sorry for you. And you may want to consider leaving and going to somewhere where the police are actually effective and there are enough of them. Sucks to be honest in Scotland these days, doesn't it? But then when you're ruled by an organised criminal gang, what do you expect? Coming up. Does anyone think it's going to get better over time? Do they think that by freeing up these officers it means that there'll be more crimes investigated and more people brought to the courts. Of course not. It just means they've got more time to eat donuts and sit in their cars and watch as things happen. They weren't out in big numbers during the Palestinian riots, were they? They weren't arresting these people, just sitting there going, oh, he's got to do it, he's got his rights, as they were attacking Jewish people. That's the police. They're not the police we used to have. When I was young, policemen were policemen. Nowadays, most of them are pointless, aren't they? Anyway, I'll stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.